Good evening and welcome to the December Village Board meeting. Will you please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance with us? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll start at the top of the page. In your packet, you have reports from both the fire department, public works, and police department. Did anybody have any questions that you wanted me to relay to the department heads, or are we okay? Michelle's good? You guys okay?
Yes, we are.
All right, excellent. So I'm going to move to the treasurer's report. We've had a chance to review the abstract and the vouchers in the back. Could I have a motion for someone to accept the abstract for the month?
So moved. Oh, good.
Oh, Michelle, John, will you be second?
I will be second.
Thank you. John is second. And roll call, please.
Trustee Ganance? In favor. Trustee Farrakhan?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor?
Mayor Denine?
In favor. Okay, this is the public comment section. I'm not sure if our audience this evening, a little large, but they have hearts of gold, I can tell. If you have anything you'd like to share with the board, come on up. Nope, not at the time. Nothing? Okay, just checking. I'm going to move on to the agenda for this evening. I'm going to ask our counsel, Allison, to read the public notice, if you would, please. Oh, did it go on? Okay. Michelle, why don't we turn that one off?
I'm just gonna turn it off.
That would be great. There we go. To figure that out.
Okay. Notice of public hearing, Village of Altamont. Please take notice that the Village Board of the Village of Altamont will hold a public hearing on December 7th, 2021 at 7:00 p.m. at the Altamont Village Community Room, 115 Main Street, Altamont, New York, to hear all interested persons on proposed local law number 3 of 2021, amending section 300-85 of the Village of Altamont Sewer Use Law to increase the user fee that is charged to all users from $45 to $100. The increase is necessary to provide for capital improvements and the payment of debt service on the village wastewater treatment plant and would take effect immediately upon adoption. A copy of the proposed local law is available for review at the offices of the village clerk located at 115 Main Street, Altamont, New York, 12009, and on the village's website at altamontvillage.org. All persons desiring to speak either on behalf of or in opposition to said proposed local law shall be heard by either attending the public hearing or by submitting written comments in advance of the public hearing to the village clerk at Village of Altamont, P.O. Box 643, Altamont, New York, 12009, or villageclerk@altamontvillage.org. Patricia Blackwood, Village Clerk, December 2nd, 2021.
Great, thank you. I appreciate that. So we talked a little bit about this at the last meeting, but had a longer conversation during the budget workshops back in March and February. Our treasurer, Catherine Hasbrook, she's been keeping an eye on our sewer fund and the fact that our expenses are greater than the revenues that are coming in. There were various reasons for that. Water usage is down. That's one of the big reasons for that. And then the expenses on the plant have also increased over the last so many years. The electricity is higher than expected and things like that. And we've had this issue where we've been, taking from the general fund to, any shortages we've had, we've kind of covered with that, but it's getting to the point where, we're hurting one fund, we're trying to balance this out. So basically, the comptroller's office indicates, as always, our revenue should be supporting the expenses of the plant, of the sewer plant. And I got that right so far? Okay, so it has to stand alone. So we had a shortage of approximately $96,000 we were finding going into this year. Like we would have that shortage by the end, after our revenues come in and things like that. So the increase to $100 capital charge was calculated to cover that shortage. So far, so good? I just want to make sure I'm explaining this correctly. Okay. So that's what we were having the hearing on tonight. We've looked at, I know I have looked at many different ways to try to do this, and then I've, bugged Nick, he's really good with data, to say, Nick, find something, what can we do? It's tough, though. You just can't pull it from somewhere else because we need it where it is. I did many calculations myself, trying to think of, okay, what would, $60, $70, $85 give us getting towards that goal, and it doesn't hit what we need. So that's what we want to talk about, and I don't know if anybody, granted, our audience is smaller this evening, I don't know, but you're both residents, so Kate and Paul, if you have any questions about it, we're obviously would love to discuss it with you all. We haven't gotten any feedback, nothing's come in on email about it. We had some questions over the phone, but it was an anonymous person, which our clerk, Patty, answered to the best of her knowledge, and Catherine too. So, yeah, that's where we're at. I don't know if anybody has anything, or if the board has any questions for Catherine as well. I mean, that's fine too. Nope, I'm not seeing anything. Okay, so, oh, come on up. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll do a handheld if you don't mind.
Oh, it'll be like on
I
TV.
don't mind, but do you need it to tape?
Yeah, unfortunately, if you don't mind turning it on a little bit over there, though.
I turned ours are off, so she's okay.
Okay, never mind.
How about if I go way
That's
over
good.
to-
Yeah, this way we have you on.
So I just want to be clear, and maybe for anybody who's watching.
Absolutely.
But this is the charge to pay down the debt that we have, correct? For improvements, because we also pay a rate based on usage that's supposed to support
Right.
ongoing expenses. Is that correct?
And it's all combined, right? It's the debt plus the expenses. It's,
Yellow line is the debt, that's the line that will be increased.
it all comes out of the sewer fund, though.
Right. Because there's two separate charges for sewer, right? There's the one is that charge, and then the other is based on like like 2.5 or whatever times your water rate.
Yeah.
That's all the usage.
That's
Yeah.
all the usage. But what we're raising is that fixed charge.
And
So is there a point where that fixed charge goes away?
23 years.
Oh, good.
I
I'll
know.
look forward to that.
So yes, there is.
yes,
And
the
there is a
answer is
point.
yes. And there was a discussion about, we went over the whole raise rates versus
Right.
raising capital charge. But the difference is, the rates, you don't know what you're going to be getting in, because
Right.
it all depends on the usage. So you can't say, we're going to have this concrete amount, and then maybe you'd be short again. And then it would be even, this is an investment, we want to evenly spread out amongst everyone. So that
Correct.
would,
Yeah.
that's why we did it the way we're proposing it, the way it is proposed.
Yeah. So that all makes sense to me, and I've been following this conversation and similar conversations over a period of time while you've wrestled with that, so
Yeah.
I appreciate your looking, and because I think that for folks who have fixed incomes, that kind of an increase doesn't seem like a lot to those of us who continue to work, but for others it is. But I also don't see how else you're going to take care of this, and I'm aware of other concerns we have about our infrastructure
I know.
and the need to support that. So it seems like this is probably the least that we're going to have to do to support that. Just
I
wanted to
think
say
when I
that.
broke it down, I had the numbers, because I knew Nick would like the numbers, but they're probably at my kitchen table. I think it was something like $9.29 extra a month,
Yeah.
to something a week. I mean, not that that makes it better, but if we're breaking it down that way, it does help to look at it in that.
And to Kate's point, right, there are some, when I looked at the data, I was trying to figure out, is this a base problem that should be spread across all users, or is it a result of the operations, right? Like if the cost of hauling away the sludge is what doubled or tripled, then it would make sense to charge it as a usage. But this was just keeping the plant running, which
Right.
no matter how much you use, you need the plant to run.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're
And-
not real happy about it either. I mean,
No,
Which
I
is why
know
it took
you're
so
not.
long,
And
right?
that's-
Well,
We've
it
been
did.
talking about it
I mean,
for almost a year.
Catherine asked us, to consider this, we for the spring, or the first part of the year. But we really wanted to look at it as many different ways as we could to just see if there was something else we could do. I mean, just,
Right.
you know, because
Yeah.
I think the impact is large. I think it's,
Keep in mind, because we missed that October billing.
We did.
that We will probably have to, you'll probably have to transfer again from the.
Right.
from the
Correct.
sewer fund.
Right, yeah.
Right.
So
This isn't the only infrastructure issue that we're gonna have to look at. So, and I think that the board as a whole, not just you, but over the years, has tried to keep tax rates down
Yeah.
and not increase taxes, which is great, but perhaps has not helped us to keep up with costs, so.
yeah. Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks, great, Kate. Is there anybody else that wants to, before we close the public hearing, want to say something for the public hearing part? No?
No.
Okay, so can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make the motion.
Nick is first, and second?
I'll second.
Oh, John.
No, no, actually, Michelle gets it.
Okay, Michelle is going to be second, I guess, because it's a gentleman. And roll call, please.
Trustee Ganance?
In favor?
Trustee Farah?
In favor?
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine?
In favor. I'm just moving my pages here so I can get down to the law and the seeker part. So we're just reviewing this, and I think we talked about this last time as well. But for this project, we have to address seeker. But in this case, this is not an environmental impact as much as it's a code adjustment. I hope I get this right now. We've done this a few times. So if you review, I think we reviewed this a bit last time when we first introduced it. But Allison, how do you want us to, I mean, we addressed it as far as negative declaration in our motion, but just reviewing the questions here, this is not a significant impact, so thus, I don't know.
That's right. Just to, kind of recap, we did discuss this a little last week because the
Yep.
board prepared a short environmental assessment form when it introduced the local law at last month's meeting. And in that form, we identified that the adoption of this local law is the only action being taken by the village board. So the form actually instructs us, most of the questions on the part one of the EAF aren't applicable because you're not actually undertaking any kind of physical disturbance or land development activity. So we prepared an attachment to that form which explains this action is administrative in nature. It's going to be an amendment to the local law to increase the charge, and that's for the benefit of the health welfare of the community in order to provide for the continuing safe operation of the treatment plant. So the next step in the seeker process would be to review Part 2 of the EAF. So in the materials tonight, we have a draft Part 2 filled out for the board's review. We've gone ahead and identified no or small impact for each of the resource area questions, and that's again because this local law is really administrative in nature. It's not going to result in any changes at the wastewater treatment plant to increase capacity or something that could have some resulting effect on development. It truly is just an amendment to the local law to change that fee, which is administrative. So if the board's agreeable to the draft responses in the Part 2, it would move on to Part 3, where we've included just this summary statement supporting a negative declaration that the adoption of this local law won't result in any significant adverse environmental impacts.
Okay. Is everybody good with the Part 3?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I'm going to move on. I'm going to push this over here. One thing I'm just going to, before we get to looking at item 3, I want us to look at, but it wouldn't be something we would do now. It would be for budget season. So we did talk about, there are some salaries. We take salaries within departments or the office, and they get divvied up. So for public works, some of their salaries come out of sewer, some of them come out of water, some of them come out of general fund. That changed and then some of the office positions are the same. They're divvied up because of the work that they're doing, can be justified to take them out of the different funds they're doing work for. I would propose, which is not something we have to do now, but we should look at in February, March, is when we do our budget, taking perhaps the office salaries, just those, the third that has been put in the sewer fund, and moving those back to the general fund. They were moved over in 2013, because the way I'm looking at it, and I could be wrong, but when we give COLAs every year, which are wonderful to give, that is going to then increase back in that sewer fund. We could be talking about this again in 2 more years because it's above what we're bringing in. So it's just something I want us to keep thinking about. And then as we get to that, we may want to just look at that when we budget for the following year. That's what I'm thinking. So put that in the back of your head. Just a way to look at it, and then it'll give us a bigger picture. Yes, does it bring down the general fund? I get that. But then we can look at all departments and say, all right, where do we need to make some cuts to make this a little bit, more even? So we don't keep raising on this end that we're already at this high, capital charge. At least that's where I'd like to see us
And
go
given
with
that
that.
something else doesn't happen at the plant, or that we need more repairs, or we need to invest more.
Well, that will help as well. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? It'll give you that
exactly,
little
yes.
buffer
It seems
should we need
reasonable.
it too. Yeah, I
Yes.
just think, it's something to look at. And it's about $28,000. So it's 28,000 and change. So that's, that is, I think, something that we could look at to, when we get to that point. Just putting that out there. Okay. So item 3, consider approving resolution issuing a negative declaration under seeker and adopting local law number 3 of 2021 entitled A Local Law Amending Chapter 300 of the Code of the Village of Altamont and adopting an increase in the sewer service charge. Could I have a motion for that, please?
So moved.
John, and second,
I'll second.
Nick, and roll call, please.
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farronkov?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine.
In favor. Item 4 is consider approval of Library Lights Gazebo Lighting Ceremony fundraiser to support Altamont Free Library to be held on Friday, December 10th at 6 p.m. at the gazebo in Orsini Park per request of Joseph Burke, Director. Can I have a motion, please? Michelle, and second,
I'll second it.
and John, and roll call, please.
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farronkov?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine.
In favor. Item 5 is consider approving renewal of enhanced plan with New York State Volunteer Fighter Cancer Benefit Program for Altamont Fire Department's eligible volunteer firefighter members. Wow, that was a mouthful.
That needs an acronym.
Yeah, it really does. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Nick, and second,
I'll second it.
John, and roll call, please.
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farronkov?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Bless you.
Mayor Denine.
In favor. Item 6, consider authorizing Mayor Denine to sign supplemental agreement not to exceed $2,000 with Barton and LaJudas for processing reimbursement paperwork with DASNY for SAM Grant number 24544 regarding Lark Street and Fairview Avenue sidewalk replacement project. This is, we need our engineers to do the paperwork and finish up. We were given the grant for the sidewalks for both of those roads. We're coming to the finish line on it, which is nice. It's $125,000. Where the paperwork will be submitted by the 15th, I believe, is what or 17th, by the 17th of December. So this money that we're approving now will also be reimbursed by the grant. It's part of the expenses. So just wanted, does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just, I guess, a little confused. So this is them filling out the reimbursement paperwork for the state?
It's, they had to do, yes, it's something they sent me all the paperwork. I sent it to Superintendent Moeller.
Yeah.
And I asked him about it because I'm not so familiar with it. And he moved it on to the engineers for them to look. They came back with this price. So it's that, and it's part of the project too, the development of the project. So it's not just the report on filling out the paperwork, but they have to actually, it's been a very odd through COVID how this was a year ago that I talked to them about this, and I thought we were getting it, and then it was never really confirmed, and then it went all the way through, and then I called them, and surprise,
I'm curious, like, is getting the money for a sidewalk different than other SAM grants? Like, have we always hired an engineer to
well, this is,
get the reimbursement?
I think this is because they're gonna, it's the design is, the design is involved as well. It's all of it. So, it's like the feet and all that. We turned in all the other paperwork ourselves. Like,
Okay.
we turned in the expenses earlier, but this is more of the design and things like that, so.
Got
But
it.
it's reimbursable, so that's the good part. Okay? So can I have a motion? Michelle, and second,
I'll second it.
John, And roll call, please.
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farronkov?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor?
Mayor Denine.
In favor. Item 7 is consider authorizing Mayor Denine to expend up to $37,000 from unallocated reserve for purchase of streetlights from National Grid. Let me explain this. This was a little late addition. We are actually coming close to the end of our LED street lighting project. I'm getting, after 4 years, kind of excited about this. So we have our closing on the purchase of the streetlights next week. NYPA, who is supplying our financing short-term, they are going to be sending us these funds. There is a chance, though, between invoicing and paperwork, it does not get here by the closing date, because coordinating with 3, it's been impossible. So we have this we'll put out, we'll have this for the closing, Catherine and I, and then the money from NYPA will be coming back to reimburse us. They've already sent us the invoices to sign to send us the money. So it might be here for the closing, but it may not be. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, just wanted to, so I'm not out holiday shopping or anything like that. Okay. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Nick, and second,
I'll second.
Michelle, and roll call, please.
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farronkov?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor?
Mayor Denine.
In favor. I'm going to move on to item 8, consider approval of board minutes for November 3rd, 2021. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
John, and second,
I'll second.
Nick, and roll call, please.
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farronkov?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor?
Mayor Denine.
In favor. I am going to, I'm going to take 9 off the agenda until next month because I did not, I could not get the completed paperwork. I did not get it ready for that. So we'll talk about that next month, if that's okay with everybody. Yeah, okay. I said, yeah, okay. Let's move on to item 10. Before we adjourn, does anybody have anything else? I guess they're not here, but I'm going to plug the Victorian holidays, which is next weekend. I guess it's Sunday, correct? I just want to make sure, 12 to 5? No.
2
say-
weeks.
Oh, not this Sunday. I knew that. I'm sorry. I apologize. Yes, the following Sunday, December 19th. Hours, though, am I correct? Is it like a 12 to 5? I feel like it's something like that.
Check out their website, Altamont Communications.
Check out their website. Yes, there you go, Altamont Communications.
All the details.
Because it's different this year. I mean, there's a lot of the same as last year, but it's enhanced from last year, but it's still, the times are different and things like that, so.
Yeah, that's the name of it now.
Oh, is it? Festival of Light. Awesome. That's cool. All right, so I hope everybody comes out for that. And I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday and Happy New Year, because we won't see you till 2022.
Yeah.
So, all right, so item 10, consider motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Nick is first and second.
I'll second it.
John, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, have a great evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out on this
Thank you.
cold night.